Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. So it's been a while since we discussed Shannon Sharpe on the channel. The last time we spoke about him, we were chronicling this issue, this legal issue that he finds himself in with the OnlyFans model, and this story came out of that. We were pretty much doing what everybody else was doing, just talking about the story. But as time has gone on, things have seemed to simmer down. There hasn't been real news about him lately. So I was going through the internet. Was it yesterday or today? No, today. This morning, actually. I was going through the internet this morning, looking for what to talk about, looking for what would be interesting. And I came across a pretty interesting report here from awfulannouncing.com that was centered on one Shannon Sharpe. And the article had the following headline saying, ESPN reportedly considered replacing Around the Horn with Shannon Sharpe show. And I was like, wow, really? The reason this stood out to me was because we already knew, according to reports then, that Shannon Sharpe was in line to ink a $100 million deal for himself and his production company, given the fact that his contract was expiring with the Volume podcast, or the Volume Network, right? That's what we knew. So we heard about that and we were like, man, this guy could have potentially missed out on a large sum of money. What I was unaware of was the fact that he had other opportunities in place for him at ESPN. In the form of his own show. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is something that we need to talk about today. Before we even get into this report, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. PrizePicks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least two for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week on PrizePicks, I'm looking at the upcoming NBA schedule and selecting Stephen Curry for more than 29 points and Kevin Durant for more than 27 points and Anthony Davis for more than 12 rebounds and Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love PrizePicks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into what this report says. It says, as Around the Horn prepares to exit ESPN's airwaves, the network still doesn't have a full-time replacement for its 5 p.m. Eastern time slot, and Shannon Sharpe might be one of the biggest reasons why. In a column for The Athletic, Andrew Marchand gave his take on the end of the Around the Horn following the show's 23-year run. And in doing so, the sports media insider revealed that the network had previously weighed filling the void of the daily debate show with Shannon Sharpe as a part of a Stephen A. Smith project before Smith signed his new $100 million contract with the worldwide leader. It's unclear whether Smith would have also starred on the 5 p.m. Eastern time show or if it would have been an extension of ESPN's First Take universe starring Sharpe. Either way, the idea of ESPN airing a show starring the Hall of Fame tight end appears to effectively be dead, and perhaps not only because of Smith's new deal. As has been well documented, Sharpe took a hiatus from ESPN duties last month after being named as a defendant in a lawsuit accusing him of assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery. While the 56-year-old initially co-hosted 2 episodes of First Take after news of the lawsuit was first made public, he announced his hiatus after his accuser released audio recordings that depicted him is threatening her, while his lawyer revealed he had previously offered a settlement of at least $10 million, which he stressed wasn't an admission of guilt. In the statement announcing his hiatus, Sharpe said that he planned to return to ESPN airwaves in time for the start of football season. But while it remains to be seen how his legal situation plays out, his future at the network appears to be tenuous at best. As for how the network will ultimately replace Around the Horn on a full-time basis, Marchand agrees that the expanded pardon the interruption is unlikely. While Pierre, so the article then goes on to say a few other things that you guys essentially get the gist of it. What are my thoughts about this? This is devastating. It's devastating because of the opportunity missed. Folks, look, opportunities come in life, and I don't think they come that often. They really don't. You could work your tail off, work your butt off, but these things, they're far and in between, right? And when these moments do present themselves, you have to be ready to seize these opportunities. And to be fair, I think Shannon Sharpe was 100% prepared to seize the opportunity. One thing we can say about Shannon is that he takes his work very seriously in terms of his work ethic. I think that Shannon and people like him that are in media that are doing very well view media as a second career. It's like as a second opportunity. And I mean this, to earn the money that they didn't earn while they were professional athletes. If you guys remember that Cat Williams interview, Shannon Sharpe said he made more on that Cat Williams interview than he ever did in any single season playing as an NFL football player. That's what he said. So having these opportunities in front of you when you have a $100 million deal, you're in place to get a show on ESPN, you want to seize it. Because the fact of the matter is, if a Hall of Fame tight end like Shannon Sharpe played today, he would be earning way more money because of the money that NFL players make today. So these guys, I personally believe, view these opportunities as things that allow them to make up money that they never made when they were professional athletes. That's what I believe. And I believe a lot of guys are getting into sports media for that. And I don't think anything is wrong with that. Hey, you want to make the most of your talents while you're on earth. I get that. But to lose out on an opportunity like this is devastating. I mean, it is devastating, right? Because look, Shannon Sharpe, prior to this lawsuit, was one of the 3-5 biggest names in sports media. One of the 3 or 5 biggest names. I mean, you got Stephen A. Smith, you got Pat McAfee, of course you have the Kelsey brothers, you have Shannon Sharpe, and maybe someone else that I'm missing right now. Because and the thing that made Shannon unique was because not only was he big in the independent space, he was also big on TV. If you guys remember when he came on ESPN, when he made his debut on ESPN First Take, he was helping bring in record-breaking numbers for the network. So it's a damn shame. And for as much I didn't like Shannon Sharpe's antics, I hope he bounces back. Because the fact of the matter is, Shannon Sharpe is actually good at what he does. Like, regardless of those antics with the Michelle, all that, son he's actually good at what he does, right? And when you have a talent like that, a guy like that needs to be at the forefront because he's good. He's really, really good. Like, it's just a fact of the matter. I had been saying that for years. You just go look at it. We did a live reacting to that game between the Knicks and the Pacers. Let me tell y'all this. That was probably the best game I've seen these playoffs. That was certainly one of the best playoff games I've seen in a very long time. You got to go all the way back to games like between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers with Reggie Miller, who was calling the game, Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun. Like, you got to go back to those games. Like, this was an incredible game. An incredible game, and I was thoroughly entertained. Even after we did a live show reacting to the game, even though there were a lot of Knicks fans watching the live, a lot of them had to concede, bro, that was a hell of a game. So with games like that and some of the games that we've seen in the playoffs, I thought that we were doing very, very well. I'm like, okay, well, the NBA is doing very well. They don't need some of their flagship names like LeBron or KD or Stephen Curry or the Warriors or the Lakers. I thought we were doing good. Until I woke up this morning and came across a report here from Awful Announcing with the following headline saying, Western Conference Finals Game 1 ratings see significant drop. Game 1 of the NBA Western Conference Finals flopped in ratings. And I was like, what? What is going on here? Okay, so let's read this quickly. So it says, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Oklahoma City Thunder did not produce the viewership totals that ESPN likely hoped for. John Lewis of Sports Media Watch reported the numbers on Wednesday. It's a significant drop from not just last year, but several recent seasons. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals flopped in ratings. Tuesday's Timberwolves Thunder NBA Western Conference Final game 1, averaged 5.36 million viewers across ESPN and ESPN2, marking the least watched conference finals opener since the Clippers Suns on ABC in 2021, which aired a month out of the schedule of Father's Day. Oklahoma City's blowout win declined 24% from last year's Mavericks Timberwolves Game 1 on TNT. The report also noted, compared to last year's conference finals on ESPN networks, viewership also fell 17% from Pacers Celtics Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, which brought in 6.44 million viewers. What could cause such a drop? Compared to the 2024 Eastern Conference Finals, neither the Timberwolves nor Thunder has the following that the Boston Celtics have. As far as the Western Conference Finals are concerned, the Minnesota Timberwolves were in 2024's as well. So the primary difference are the networks covering the series and the Thunder in place of the Dallas Mavericks. Losing established stars like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving is significant. Oklahoma City is also a smaller market than Dallas, but this isn't just compared to last year. It was also the least watched conference finals game of any kind since Hawks-Bucks Game 5 in that same 2021 season, which aired in July. It then continued on. Going back to 2013, we find a lot of conference finals games that featured established needle movers like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant, none of whom remain in the postseason in 2025. It is not as though the Western Conference Finals lack star power. While it's a title he doesn't care to have, Anthony Edwards has been talked about as the next face of the league. The Thunder, of course, were a 68-win juggernaut in the regular season and have the MVP, the NBA MVP in SGA. Both players, though, are still in the relatively early parts of their careers. Folks, this is devastating, right? This is devastating. I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you why we mentioned Michael Jordan in the title. And we're like, they need to find the next Michael Jordan. The fact of the matter is this. No one moved the needle more than MJ. If you just recollect back to what I just read moments ago in the article, they mentioned LeBron, Steph, KD, and all of that. They're talking about an amalgamation of talent and stars. Jordan, by himself, was the star. Another thing worth pointing out, they spoke about the small markets, and although Chicago isn't a small market, prior to Jordan's arrival in Chicago, they were an absolute mess of a franchise. Jordan and the Bulls and the leadership and all of that, they turned that team into a sports dynasty. They did. Now they have the Cubs and all of that stuff, but you get what I'm saying. So yes, a market plays a role, but I think the star power of a star, this transcendent, can lift any market. I mean, for goodness sakes, LeBron played in Cleveland, for God's sakes. Right? And I get the fact that the Celtics, the Lakers, all of these guys have a following. But the fact of the matter is they need to find the next MJ. And for all of the comparisons that we've been getting, Anthony Edwards reminds you of Michael Jordan. He's Michael Jordan coming. He's going to be the next Michael. Well, we're not seeing it in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. Jordan, around this time in his career, was averaging 36 in the playoffs for the entire playoffs in 25 games. While shooting 53%, averaging like 7-8 rebounds a game or whatever it was. That's what Jordan was doing. So this thing of, he reminds you, it's not resonating. Now, I think the other problem is the problem the NBA has done. Because all throughout the season, they haven't marketed their other stars. They spend the entire season marketing players like LeBron, KD, Stephen, the guys, the usual suspects. So what do you expect to happen when this time of the year comes around, when it's time to market, or when it's time to pull in fans, and you now want them to tune in to people you haven't spoke about the entire season? Go look at the sports media landscape. They didn't talk about them. They didn't talk about them. Even us, we didn't talk about them. Why? Because those other guys move the needle. Because if the big media focuses on them a lot, that's where all the attention goes. And you can't say, oh, well, Dreamers Pro, why did you? Yeah, because Dreamers Pro going to be the one to move the needle to get millions and millions of viewers to tune in, right? To get 7-8 million viewers to turn in to watch an Oklahoma City versus Minnesota Timberwolves game, right? That's what we're going to do, right? Because we have television networks and all of that stuff, right? Let's be for real. So that's also playing a role. But I think the larger issue here, they haven't found their next Jordan, and they need to find him soon. These are my... As you guys know, Kobe's my favorite player of all time, but I openly admit that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. Not just because everybody says it, but because I myself have come to that conclusion through research. Now, I wasn't old enough to experience his run with the Bulls in the 80s and 90s. I was born in 87, so I don't know how I was supposed to do that, even though some people still hold it against me. You mean to tell me you didn't watch Jordan play in 89? You were 2 years old, but that's still not an excuse. Like, there are people like that. But with time and the thing called the internet, you can do research, right? You can watch games, watch footage, highlights, study his stats, study his, and, read story, all of this stuff, and you can quickly educate yourself. And after going through that education process, it became clear to me that Michael Jordan is the best player to ever play the sport. And it's not, he's the best ever, right? He's the best ever. And when you look at his impact, not just on the court, but off the court, I think it takes his GOAT status to a stratosphere that I don't think will ever be touched. Jordan's shoes outsell LeBron, KD, and Steph combined even today. You're talking about from a player that hasn't played basketball going on 30 years. Now, some people will say, well, the reason that happens is because of marketing. Yeah, so they don't market anybody else, right? They don't market KD. They don't market Stephen Curry. They don't market LeBron James. They don't market them, right? I'm lost. They don't. When Jordan was playing, there wasn't even social media. So what's your excuse? The reason Jordan did so well with the Nike marketing is because he was a phenomenon. He was a phenomenon, literally. So the marketing went hand in hand with what he was doing. That's why it became so significant, right? Everybody wanted to be like Mike. Michael Jordan had people rocking bald heads at one point, right? So I was going through the internet this morning, and I came across a pretty interesting read here from Basketball Network with the following headline saying this: Michael Jordan touched the fiber of basketball that no one will ever touch today. Kenny Smith says nobody in the league today comes close to Michael Jordan. Okay, so let's get into it here. Kenny Smith has been around the NBA for most of his life. After playing at the University of North Carolina, he won 2 championships with the Houston Rockets during his brief, colorful 10-year career. After playing his final game in the league during the 1996-1997 season, the Jet joined seasoned broadcaster Ernie Johnson on Inside the NBA, giving the TNT show the insider it needed. After covering the league for the past 28 years, the 6'3" guard was recently asked if there was, in his opinion, anyone in the league who's Michael Jordan like. Kenny confidently stated that there wasn't anyone, not even the player fans and pundits were anointing as the face of the NBA and possibly the next megastar Anthony Edwards. Not even close. Ant-Man, a dynamic, explosive 6'4" guard who took the league by storm in 2020 with the Minnesota Timberwolves selected him as the first pick. He has been on a roll in the last 2 seasons, earning All-Star and All-NBA team honors and leading the team to consecutive appearances in the Western Conference Finals. With his unique blend of breathtaking athleticism, scoring ability, confidence, and charisma, many have likened him to the GOAT. Kenny quickly shot this idea down when asked by Charles Bethea of The New Yorker if there was any player in the NBA who resembles Mike. Zero, Smith responded. Asked if Ant has a chance, Smith was diplomatic with his explanation, saying Ant is very good, talented player. He reflected that MJ didn't just score on the court; he touched lives, much like the legendary Michael Jackson did through his music. It's not even close. Michael Jordan touched the fiber of basketball that no one will ever touch today, Kenny noted. Larry Bird touched the fiber of basketball that no one is going to touch today. Maybe LeBron. LeBron is touching the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson fiber. He is not touching the Jordan fiber. This is from the man that had LeBron, I think, going into this season, the last season, I believe it was this season, as the second best player in the NBA. So before LeBron fans throw on their pom-poms and start hollering, oh, Kenny hates LeBron. Because in LeBron James fans' language translation, oh, he hates. Nah. He thought this dude was a top 2 player in the NBA this year. But even he's saying LeBron can't touch him. Nobody can touch him. The question is why? Well, I alluded to it in the beginning, but I want to expand my thoughts a little bit more. The fact of the matter is this, folks. You can't trick people into unseeing what they saw. No matter how many people go out there and try to twerk it up in the media and plant this narrative and plant that narrative and say this and say that, people saw MJ play. People witnessed it. They witnessed it. It's one thing if you didn't witness it, then maybe you could be kind of swayed. But it's another thing if you witnessed it. And the people that witnessed it are not going for it. They're not going to suck the sack. I'm sorry. They're not going for it. Now, for the people that didn't witness it as well, like myself, but are well researched, we know this thing is conclusive. That it's conclusive, guy. It's not close. Look at the news. Look at the reaction just to the news that Michael Jordan is coming back to talk sports on NBC. Look at the reaction from everybody everywhere. People started losing their minds. The excitement, the euphoria. Oh my God, Michael Jordan's coming back. Michael Jordan's coming back. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to say? What does it mean? People are excited. You're talking about a guy who hasn't played in nearly 3 decades. 3 decades and people are behaving like this. 3 decades. You know how many other NBA players that haven't played in 3 decades that if they came back today and said they were going to talk sports, nobody would give a damn like that? If Larry Bird said he would come back, people would be excited, not like Michael Jordan. Hell, Magic Johnson talks sports and some people argue that both of those guys in the top 5. But then this one guy comes back and says he's going to talk sport and everybody loses their mind. That's the Michael Jordan effect. And it ain't something that's made up of smoke and mirrors. There's actually real substance there. And that's why Kenny Smith said that.